Hi, welcome. This is the first date theory, how to write seductive sales copy. And like I said, I know you guys are hungry and thirsty, so I'm not going to start off with super duper like heavy knowledge bombs. We're going to start with a story. So first, I wanted to ask you guys a couple questions. So who has heard of like, oh, is this the first date? Like, do you want to get them into bed or do you want to marry them? That whole concept of marketing with this analogy in mind. Some people have heard of this. It's not a brand new thing. I didn't make it up, but I totally believe in these seduction principles and using them for your marketing efforts, especially your sales copy. There's nothing quite as powerful. There's nothing, no amount of fantastic UX or great graphic design will get them where you need them to be the way that your words will. So that's why obviously I believe in copy. I'm a copywriter, right? So anyways, like I said, instead of going with a boring lecture, I thought we would start off with that story. And it is a story about dating. So who here has been married for a while? Yeah, me too. So we're just going to have to imagine what it's like to date in 2017. But if you are single and you've been using, dating apps and stuff like that, you're going to be like, yeah, this is exactly correct. So like I said, it's PG-13. So if you are offended by suggestive emojis or if you have like a sensitive constitution, this is not the session for you. Just saying, all right? All right, so our story starts with once upon a time. There's a guy named Dan. Now, Dan was a simple man with a simple goal, like most guys. Dan just wanted to hook up with a lady, right? Or a few ladies. He wasn't going to turn that down if it came up. So Dan tried the traditional channels first, like we all do when we first start out. Classic Dan move. And he had okay luck, but it took a lot of time to go out there and work his game face to face, right? It's a one-to-one thing. And if he spent all night with one single prospect only to strike out, that's a huge time sink. So it's 2017 and Dan's no dummy. So he decided he could make things go a lot easier by going online. And everything went really well for Dan at first. He could meet lots of attractive prospects. He could start lots of conversations. And he could just get things going really quickly, which is why we all went online in the first place, right? Same thing with our sales. Selling one-to-one is impossible. Selling to many is a lot easier and faster. But Dan, in particular, had a problem with his close rate, right? He thought it would be a good idea to get into conversation and then quickly send one of these. How many of you have ever gotten one of those on your dating app? You don't have to admit to it. I think we've all gotten one of those pictures in our messages. Maybe not the dudes. I don't know. I don't know what goes down in a dude's DMs. So anyways, yeah, so he thought it would be a good idea to send this photo. I don't know why guys do that. The moment he sent out the eggplant picture, if you will, his prospects disappeared and he'd have to go out and start all over again with his prospects again and again. So this is no bueno for Dan, but what has it got to do with you? What does it have to do with sales copy, right? Honestly, it's the same thing. This whole principle of seduction works on both levels. What Dan is looking for is what you are looking for. People, conversions, closing deals, right? So, well, you're looking for this. Not the same exact kind of thing as Dan, but it's the same idea. And every time you use like canned copy, just straight up templates, or anytime you just talk about the features of your product, or even when you just like work on the different parts and pieces of your sales funnel at different times, you are in essence sending your potential clients one of these. So how do we fix this, right? How do we get back on track and get what we're looking for from all of our efforts? Because let's be honest, it's easy when you get it right, but setting it all up to that point is really hard. So how do we get there, right? So I'm an excessive water drinker. That's going to happen a lot, FYI. First, we have to address where we have gone wrong. So because we can only fix the problems with our copy after we've identified them. So here are some of the mistakes I missed a slide. Pretend that didn't happen. Some of the mistakes that we and Dan make that are just as bad as sending an X-rated photo. Maybe not just as bad, but pretty darn close. So some of the mistakes Dan makes, only talking about himself. He starts off the communication just by word vomiting about him and only him. You know, when you meet someone and they just go on and on about, you know, this is what I do, this is who I am, I'm so great, and you're just like, holy God, get me out of here. That is a major mistake. Number 2 is when the person you're talking to, I'm using the female perspective on this. So when the person you're talking to has used the same cheesy pickup line over and over again just to see who bites, yes, my legs are tired. I have been running through your mind all night. Yes, 100%. We want to feel special. So when we get that approach, you can feel it. It turns us off. Another common mistake is the wrong tone of voice. This, when people bridge from writing content to writing copy, even if they're really comfortable writing content, a lot of times something in them just clams up and they go this really weird corporate, you know, professional robot 5000 voice because they're not comfortable in this arena. So that is definitely a mistake a lot of folks make. Next is boring, being boring. And that's sort of along the same lines, but I know you have your topic. You want to stay relevant, but you have to do it in a way that keeps them in line with what it is that you want to say. Next, obviously, that's your eggplant emoji right there, going in for the kill too soon. There are a lot of times when there's a sales funnel and you put it together and it feels pretty good to you, but there's a large drop off. Your conversion rate isn't quite there, and it's a lot of times because there just needs to be another piece of bridge content to get them where you need them to be. Like basically, you need to butter them up before you get them into bed. Yeah, so like this is the equivalent of having like a buy now button right when people first get to your site, or you know a pop-up like buy now. It's just your conversion rates drop because no one wants that in their face first thing. So if we're talking about Dan and we assume he actually gets the date and he can refrain from sending a picture of his junk, the next step is major mistake. The what do you want to do? Do you want to go to get coffee? Do you want to go to a bar? Do you want to have Mexican food? Like all of these choices, we just want you to make a choice for us, right? We want you to take the weight off this decision. And then finally, let's say all this goes pretty well. We make it past all these hurdles, and we get to the very end. And the lady kisses you on the cheek. She's like, you're such a nice guy. Thanks so much for listening to me talk about my cat for 4 hours. Let's, you know, see each other. You can take me to the library next week. You've just wound up in the friend zone. Nobody wants to be that, least of all marketers, right? So here is what Dan and us marketing peeps need to do instead. First, rather than just talking about you, your company, and your great product in your copy and on your website, you have to start with ask, listen, and spy. If you're going on a date, if this is for a person that you're actually meeting in person, it's pretty easy, right? You just ask them questions about themselves and you listen to the answers. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And of course, always do a Google search to make sure that they're not the Craigslist killer. For a marketer, though, it is also just as easy. You have to ask them what kind of problem is your ideal client looking to solve, right? What have their experiences been with your product in the past, and your website for that matter? If there's something that comes up a lot, like let's say you do a large-scale survey, when there's an answer that comes up a lot, you're going to want to do a deeper dive into that and see if you can't define more information from those recurring answers, right? If you guys are not familiar with how to really pull off a survey, Ryan Levesque has a book called Ask that really goes into the detail on this, and I'm not going to go down the survey route because he's got a much better resource on that. So if you're just starting out though and you don't have a big client base to survey, there are still ways to find out. Yes, I'm sorry, it's called Ask, A-S-K by Ryan Levesque. So L-E-V-E-S-Q-U-E. If you don't have a big client group to survey, you can still get away with this by using other people's information. You can go into Facebook groups where your ideal client plays around, or forums. And I think forums are better because when people are anonymous, they tend to communicate more freely, right? When their profile picture of their child is not attached to it, they're going to be more honest with their opinions. But go into forums and see exactly what potential words and phrases they are using to describe their problems and their experiences with products that are yours or similar to yours. Amazon reviews is another gold mine. Reddit, believe it or not, you can actually get some really good stuff from Reddit. Spending a couple hours in those forums and like I said, just seeing what problems keep occurring and then using those phrases in your copy. Yeah, once you notice those word patterns and the frequencies, you use the exact words, assuming they're spelled correctly and intelligent, obviously. That makes the clients feel heard, and then they instantly have an affinity. If you are phrasing something in the exact way that they have already noticed they say it themselves, they will immediately have an affinity for you. I literally do that sort of research on every single client project. That's why I'm on Reddit all the time, honestly. Anyway, so next, get crazy specific every single time. No one likes a canned pickup line, least of all your ideal client. No one likes that one-size-fits-all marketing approach. So if you've started doing an ideal client exercise where you kind of define exactly who wants this product, exactly who it's right for, and exactly what it does for them, you still have to do that exercise over and over again for every single product, just so you can get that crazy specificity. That's a fun word to say. So yeah, does anyone here use Clickfunnels? Yeah, Clickfunnels is awesome. It's great. It's great software, but they give you these templates with it, and a lot of people just use the templates and run with it, and you can smell that from like a mile away. It's just canned copy. It's not Mad Libs, guys. You can't just shove words into it. Anyway, so do not fear using that specificity in your copy right down to the word choices. If your client is 85% female, you can use softer, more feminine words. I don't mean like maxi pad. I mean like words that just sound more feminine. And if your client is, you know, maybe an older male or something like that, you can use words that are more aggressive, more energetic, more action-based. You have to, it's hard to explain this one, but it's easy to feel when you do it right, okay? So next, let's talk about tone of voice. All right, this is that professional robot 5000 thing I was talking about it. I know, we were all taught to write in this very formal tone, especially when we're like, again, when we make that move from content to copy, we freeze up and we're like, this is for real, you guys. This is gonna, you know, this is something to actually make money. So we get that professional tone back, and it's absolutely the wrong thing to do. We have to use a conversational tone because we want our words to get the buyer into the emotional state where they're ready to buy. And no one can do that from a frickin' boring pamphlet, okay? So all those grammar rules, yes, obviously spell properly, and use decent grammar, but you can throw out the rules like never end a sentence with a preposition, because that's just not how we communicate. You know what is a great thing for this is the Hemingway app. If you want to go and take your content and plug it into the Hemingway website and make sure it's at a very readable level, if you write at too high a level, you're going to leave so many people behind. Anyways, so I know you know, every single one of you. Your products are awesome. Your services are freaking fantastic. And I know this about you, otherwise you wouldn't be at Affiliate Summit, right? We're all winners here. But for the love of God, would you please stop speaking in jargon and just word vomiting features at people? This works when you're meeting them in person or in copy. If you are just giving feature, that doesn't mean anything to people. You have to connect with them with benefits. And a lot of people say benefits, not features. I say features and benefits, because features set you apart. Features is the thing that people remember, but benefits is why they remember it, okay? So like, let's say if you have a supplement company and your supplement has the latest blend of caffeine and amino acids or something like that, that's great. That's a feature. But the benefit, the why should I care about that is that cutting edge blend it's the cutting edge blend of caffeine and amino acids so you can have more energy and recover even faster from your intense workout. Without the so you can, you need that second part, right? So if you're new to thinking about that whole benefits and features thing, the magic phrase is so you can. We offer XYZ feature so you can get XYZ benefit. Without the corresponding benefits, no one cares about those features. All right, so this would help Dan too, our date guy, right? Guys, if you're still in the dating world, instead of just saying, I'm a dog person, try saying, I'm a dog person, so of course we can take your corgi to the beach for walks. Which one would the ladies respond to more? I'm thinking it's the second one. Ladies love dog people, I'm just saying. All right, so one more thing on tone. Every single time you add a new piece of copy to that existing funnel, whether it's a new ad or a new, let's say you're adding in some blog posts or you're adding in an email autoresponder sequence, changing up your sequence, whatever, read it from start to finish out loud. I know you're like, I don't want to do that. That sounds like a pain, but it will make sure that the whole thing flows and sounds consistent. A lot of times I'll come into somebody who has an existing funnel and their conversion it's kind of stuck, like their open rate drops at a certain point. And we can go in and identify, oh, well, Jim wrote that one. Aaron usually writes our copy, but Jim wrote that one, and no one's responding to it. It's because it's a total different tone, and it's a mismatch, and people can tell that. So if you have a piece in there that's off-brand voice, it's gonna, conversions go to die. All right, so moving along, being boring. I know, it's so hard to know if you're boring because no one thinks that they're boring, right? Everyone thinks that they're funny, and everyone thinks that they're interesting, I'm pretty sure. But when our dating guy, when he's having the same lame-ass conversation as every other dude out there, where do you work? What kind of music do you listen to? It's very easy for the cracks to begin to show, and all of a sudden his date, it goes from thinking about we're on a date to thinking about, this guy's kind of boring, and he drives like a crappy car. So she starts comparing him to everyone else that she's dated before, and suddenly he's not so great, right? If he's controlling the conversation, on the other hand, and he's masterfully keeping her attention the whole time, chances are good she's not going to think about the Nissan Sentra in the parking lot until she's actually really interested in him. And then, so you get to jump over that hurdle. For you guys, your peeps are the same way. If there's nothing emotional or interesting or, value-based that hits them in the gut for them to grab onto, they are either going to scroll right past you, like just go to the next program, the next service, the next item, or they are going to weigh and measure you on the one and only thing that they have, which is the price. And that is really bad because if you're not the absolute cheapest out there, or you're not the one with the program with the biggest payout, whatever, she's going to leave your ass in the dust if they have to make their decision on price, right? The buyer's going to be like, you're not the cheapest, I'm going to go with the cheapest. So you have to use your words and your just ideas and all your efforts really to stand out and interrupt what's going on in their search and be different, right? You can use storytelling to accomplish this. You can use really cool testimonials. It can even be a non-copy element. It could be something like graphic design, but you have to interrupt their pattern and control the conversation from that point forward. Okay, so now we get to the big one that we were talking about the whole time with the emoji. Going in for the kill too soon, right? So if we're talking about this from a conversion statistics point of view, it's got to work some of the time or people would stop doing it. But it only works on a tiny fraction of people. So the conversion rate of sending a dick pic is very bad. You have to advertise, right? You have to send that picture to a lot of women to actually get someone to take you up on it, right? I don't know about that. I've seen a couple, and there hasn't been any that I was like, yep, let me get on that thing. Not yet. So anyways, and if they do respond to that photo, if you're like, hey, I just barely met you, but yeah, let's hook it up, that's probably not an ideal client. You know what I'm saying? Like, STD. Yeah, so to improve your conversion rate, you have to vary your approach with your copy and your efforts. If you're dead set on going in for the kill every time, that's your funeral. Go ahead and keep using that approach. However, do us both a favor and at least split test using that longer lead-in so you can get them to the buy now or the sign up or whatever, right? Butter them up. Like I said before, you got to butter them up and then just test them against each other. See which gets better results, right? It's really worth it to, if you're having just a really hard time, maybe try throwing in a nurture sequence into your emails and see if that increases conversions. Once you have statistically significant results from that, you can add in another piece and test that out. Can I improve this by adding a welcome video? Make one and test it against the original approach, right? So basically, all that is to say, vary your approach to see what works and watch the conversions and quality of clients go up, because we all want quality clients. We don't want the one who sees that photo and is like, yep, let's do this. Because those are people who do chargebacks, I think. Anyway. All right, so let's talk about the last one. All guys do it, and I know you guys are trying to be nice. But when you're like, do you want Italian for dinner? Do you want Chinese? Do you want Mexican? I don't know. What do you want to do? It is hella frustrating. It is hella frustrating for everyone. It's hella frustrating for you because you're like, option, 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 option. And it's hella frustrating for us because we're like, I don't know. Can you just make a choice? If you can do this for your client, don't give them 10 choices. Don't give them all these options and things to confuse them. Give them one. Make the sales page binary. Do you want to go to a great new steakhouse with me on Tuesday? Yes or no? Easy decision, right? On your sales copy, again, this is in the sales page, this is in your sales emails, this is in your opt-in, all the pages of this. Give them one choice and one choice alone, right? This can be a design problem if your sales page still has your standard sidebar and it has the standard footer and there's a link to Facebook over here and she's like, oh, I should check them out and see if there's any reviews, and next thing you know, they're watching cat videos or something like that. You've lost them forever. Your design of your sales pages, your sales emails don't have the link to your site. Don't have, oh, or check out, buy now, or check out this blog post, because too many choices, it is literally too much for them to bear. It's fine to have all those things on other pages of your site, but everything sales related, one goal, one choice, whether it's join the community, sign up for the free trial, buy now. When you have one button for them to click, it reduces their cognitive load and it makes them easier for them to say yes, because otherwise they have to scroll up. They have to decide, I've gotten this far and I was wrong about them. I'm going to scroll up and click the red X, or I'm going to scroll up and find out what else I need to know. If you make the choice easy for them to say yes, it's a single button click, that's so much easier. All right, so finally, we are at the very end of the date. We might go in for that kiss or whatever the end goal was. And if everything is great, but essentially you as a marketer get told you are a really nice guy and she gives you that kiss on the cheek and says, go, see you later. You're in the friend zone, the marketing friend zone, right? What is that? That's when everything is pretty good and they get to the very end and you think they're gonna convert. You're just give me your credit card. And then they red X, cart abandonment. That's the friend zone. And that is okay, it hurts at first. The friend zone hurts and cart abandonment hurts. And if you're not tracking those cart abandonments, you've got to, because retargeting is a thing. You can now follow that person around the internet, gently reminding them of how fantastic you are until they come back, right? Use all the principles we talked about in that same copy, because it's just a piece of the funnel. The retargeting is a piece of the same funnel. So many people put all this effort into the front end, and then on the back end, they're like, I don't know, just add a sidebar ad or something. But use all those parts and pieces and principles that we talk about. Remind them of the benefits, interrupt the pattern, stop the scroll, get the attention back where it matters on you, all right? So these, in summation, are our principles. In essence, treat every client interaction in your copy like it is the first date, or I guess the Tinder app, and use your words to seduce them, okay? Talk about them, make it conversational, make it enjoyable, grab their attention, vary your approach, and make them make the only choice that counts, which is to pick you with the power of your words. That is all. Thank you. I would like to say I'm probably the only person to say dick pic in their presentation today, but I'm not 100% about that. Do you guys have any questions on this topic? Yes, sir.
Yeah, you were talking about I shouldn't, on my bridge page, I told them to do two things. I told them to click the button, and I told them to please like my fan page below, so they can because when they like my fan page, they're actually going to follow me. You shouldn't say, I have two buttons. I have a button that directs them to my affiliate offer, and I have a button where they can like my fan page, but it doesn't take them to my fan page. It just allows them to like it.
I think that's okay, as long as it's not taking them somewhere else.
Yeah. It allows them to like it so they can follow me without,
Exactly. As long as they're still oh yeah, this guy's got pretty good info, I'll go ahead and like him, but I'm also going to buy this offer. I think that's okay. It's when it, pops up a new Facebook in a new window, that's when you've lost the battle, because they're going to read about their uncle's cataract surgery and just totally forget you even exist. Yes, sir.
Are there any other resources you recommend for copywriting, like books, websites?
For sure. So I don't know if you've ever studied, like I said, seduction principles. Where's my phone here? I actually pulled this up. Ben Settle is a really excellent copywriter, and he has a book that sort of is in line with this. And let me find it on my Kindle real quick. It would be cool if I had written this out. Like, I knew that question was coming. All right. It's called Persuasion Secrets of the World's Most Charismatic and Influential Villains by Ben Settle. Yeah, oh, yeah. It's a really long title. He should have made it shorter. Didn't he know? Persuasion Secrets of the World's Most Charismatic and Influential Villains. It's entertaining, too. I don't like those books that are just like, do this. It's boring, right? Yes?
How do you find good copywriters?
Right here.
Besides
No,
you,
I know. Besides me, of course. Just kidding. Okay, so there is, oh God, there's a couple of different websites that have certification programs, and let me look them up. Inbound is the one I'm thinking of. And then Copy Hackers, inbound.org. Depends. What's your niche? What are you looking for them to do?
So we're in the consumer electronics industry, and we're an e-commerce site, and we just started a blog recently. And one thing is we have all these experts that work on our showroom floor, terrible writers. So we have this great, these resources.
Yes.
But we need somebody to be able to take all that and turn it into good copy.
Cool.
And we've been struggling with trying to find writers that would, that aren't in our industry, because it's very hard to find people that actually know how to write about consumer electronics.
Right.
People that can easily adapt that and adapt our voice. It's hard until you actually get them to work for you to know if they actually are good.
Yeah.
So,
And we are a finicky bunch. Like, if you ask us to write a free sample, most of us are going to be like, no, dude.
right.
No. So try it, like I said, inbound.org or Copy Hackers, like extremely good grade professional writing. You wouldn't know that from what I just said, but good grade professional writing.
Okay, I have a question. You mentioned website, you said Hemingway?
Yes, Hemingway is, I want to say it's the Hemingway app, actually. You can literally drag and drop the copy, and I swear, is it time for that cocktail yet? Because I am feeling it. The Hemingway app is, it's one that a lot of people use, just like I said, to make sure that they're not writing it too high of a level in terms of vocabulary and stuff like that. So you want to write it about a third grade level, a third to fourth grade level, so that most people can read it easily and quickly without stopping and going, oh shit, I have to go to the dictionary? I don't want to do that. Nobody wants to look at the dictionary app.
So this is iPad app? Or
no, it should be available on a computer too. Yes, sir. I feel good. You guys feel good? We feel like we talked this to death? Yeah? No? I feel good. What do you guys think? We should go get those drinks? Yeah? Yeah? All right.